You talked about how kind of rock and roll, that it kind of set you free and that it was like a blast, you know, this, I mean...
Ah, you'll never understand what it was like the first time.
No.
You know, because there was nothing. And then there was Bill Haley, Fats Domino, Elvis Presley, Little Richard, you know, Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly, all within 2 years, and they were all gone. Chuck Berry was in jail, Holly was dead, Cochran was dead, Elvis was in the army, you know. It was like the punk thing. 2 years, bang, and gone, you know.
Do you think there could still be anything for kids, teenagers today that would have that impact?
There will be, but we won't like it. And that's just as it should be.
Yeah. Originally, you were a guitarist in Rocking Figures. Why did you decide to take up bass?
Because I was a really fucking mediocre guitarist, for one thing. And for another thing, I always found it, I was a good rhythm guitar player, but I couldn't play lead to save your life or mine, you know. And Hawkwind, I went for a job as a guitar player with Hawkwind, and then they said they didn't need one, because Dave was going to play lead. But the bass player didn't show up because it was a free gig. And like an idiot, he left his bass in the gear van. So, you know, please steal my gig. So I stole his gig. It was a free gig in Powers Square, it was, in Matnell Gate, and they said, who plays bass? And I went, he does, because you wanted me in the band, see?
Yeah.
And I thought, asshole, I never picked a bass up in my life. I never even played one. And I got up there, I must have done something right. I was with them for 4.5 years. Right? That's when I found my instrument that I could really play and do something unique on, you know. I mean, nobody's copied my style yet, so it's still unique.
Yeah. Do you think with Hawkwind, do you think they've got the credit for how influential and important they are, particularly the period when you were in the band?
No, they didn't, because, well, they looked like a bunch of bloody tearaways anyway. They looked like drug-addled tramps, which is basically what we were at the time anyway. And we didn't have a good organisation to get us past that first horrified image.
Yeah.
And we didn't make commercial records. I mean, the best single we made was Urban Gorilla, and we got pulled off the racks because that was just when they bombed Thatcher, right? The IRA did a bunch of bombs in London. Oh, it was before Thatcher, it was when they bombed Harrods. Yeah. Right. I'm an Urban Gorilla, I got bombs in my cellar. Yeah, went down really well. Went down like a concrete parachute there.
I don't know if it's because, especially in like recent years, there's been a whole wave of like heavy psychedelic bands that were really influenced by that period of Hawkwind. Right. There's just been a tribute album called In Search of Hawkwind come out. It's interesting, they've all chosen songs from that period. I think Mudhoney did Urban Gorilla on it and bands like that, you know.
Yeah, it's funny, that was the best time for Hawkwind. That was when we had a chance to break through. We were in the process of breaking through in the States when they fired me. So they fired the engine room, you know, because I drove that band, you know.
Yeah.
And they got the wrong guys to replace me. They got Paul Rudolph, who was a dynamite guitar player with the Fairies, but on bass he was kind of a jazzer, you know. And that's not what they needed, you know, to replace me with.
Then you started Motorhead, and you were kind of, when you started Motorhead, it was just as punk was happening around. I wonder, you know, what were your feelings about that for when punk happened?
We started just before punk.
We did, yeah.
About 6 months before it hit. But we were already seeing the bands that were going to be it. You know, I mean, we saw the Damned and the Pistols. In fact, Brian James came up to me in the Duke of Lonsdale in Portobello Road about 6 months before even that, and said, I'm in a band, I'm in a group, he said, called the Damned, long gabardine raincoat, not like the later image, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, good, you know, when you got something I can listen to, and he said, okay. And then New Rose came out, and it was great. They were the first band to ever hit. And they were great, they were really good, I liked the Damned. I thought they were really a true punk band. Because they were so disorganised. I mean, it was just like a joke, you know. You're lucky if they all showed up. It was like Hawkwind in a way. You never knew who was going to be in the band till 5 minutes before you went on.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the days,
Were you aware, though, that it was another one of those moments when everything was changing, that a lot of the old bands were, you know...
Oh, yeah, you were aware because the punks told you about it, you know. Yeah. I mean, Rat Scabies come up behind me in where was it? Dingwalls. this terrible urchin with this awful red hair coming behind me, spots all over him and said, "Oi, you're Lemmy, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm not scabies from the den. Do you think you're a fucking rock star or something?" I said, "Well, if there's going to be one, I might as well be me." He said, "Fair enough, I'll buy you a drink." We've been friends ever since, you know. The captain's out there now, you know.
Yeah. Another thing, in the film, Dave Grohl is quite prominent. Obviously, you're kind of friends with him, you work with him, yeah. Another thing, sort of Nirvana, were you kind of aware, what do you think about them?
Oh yeah, I like Nirvana. I like the guitar style, the guitar tone as well, like sort of, it's like scraping your fingernails down the blackboard, is guitar, right? It turned a lot of people off, but it really turned a lot more people on. So it was like fuzz guitar as well, I've always liked that, you know. It lasts forever, you know.
I mean, so that Nirvana and grunge again was something that a lot of the 80s metal bands, they're kind of, again, it was like punk, it was a turnaround where a lot of the older bands, got Motorhead ploughed through, but, you know, did you?
Well, we survived because we sounded like a punk band, but we looked like a heavy metal band or whatever it was, a rock band, didn't it? But they'd heard us first, you see, before they saw the picture of us. So we got them then, so it was too late. We used to do gigs, we had the damned Motorhead and the Adverts, one gig, around that. Everybody got a bolt thrown at them by one section of the crowd that night.
Something for everyone or not?
Oh yeah. Captain went on stage in a ballet tutu and a pair of wingtip shades with jewels on the ends, you know, with fishnet tights and hobnail boots. I thought, you know, really pretty. In that case,
I'm going to ask you a bit about the new album now.
Yeah.
The World Is Yours. What was the thinking behind the title?
Mainly sarcasm, because we all know the world is not ours. You know, like, the world is owned by the bank, you know. And will continue to be so, I think, for the foreseeable future. Because no matter what happens to those bastards, they always come up smelling the roses, don't they? You know, a guy gets fired for being a public failure, he gets a 5 million handshake, you know. So where's the punishment? Right? That guy with the BP spill, $5 million golden handshake. It's incredible. The guy should be in jail. For a £1,000 valve, flooded the entire Gulf of Mexico with oil. Disgraceful fucking behaviour. We wouldn't get away with it.
No.
You know.
And there seems to be a theme through the album, though, of kind of personal responsibility, almost like, yeah, they're doing that, but they're getting away with that because we let them. Is that fair enough?
Yeah. I mean, some guy did an article for The Independent the other day, and he said that the song Brotherhood of Man was about the recession.
There's a lot more than that for me.
You know, I'm sorry. Which album have you been listening to? You know, maybe the original Brotherhood of Man, those guys, maybe. 2 guys and a girl, right? God, they were awful too, weren't they?
I mean, that song, it's very scathing about the idea of kind of humanity in general.
Well, we always fuck everything up, see. I mean, it's you can love individuals, but you can't love the race, because we're a mess, you know. I mean, we're poisoning our own environment. And they say, save the planet, arrogant bastards, you know. The planet is made out of volcanoes, right? The planet's going to be fine. We're leaving, you know, because we only screw up the bit we need to live in, the oxygen and the ozone layer and all that. We're the ones screwing that up. So that's the only thing on the planet that helps us to live. We're leaving. The planet's going to be spinning for years, you know. Probably the cockroaches will take over.
And the planet it'd be better off if the human race was just wiped out.
Yeah, yeah. We're like a doves of crabs, you know.
The opening line of the first song on the album is "Go ahead, put the blame on me." Do you feel like you've been made a scapegoat? Or?
No, it's not that. It's girls, when they leave you, always blame you. It's always you're the bastard, and I'm the wrong damsel in distress, right? So that's where that line comes from. That's not what the song's about. The song is about a loser, or a composite of all the losers I ever met, you know. Go ahead, put the blame on me, you know. It's a defensive thing, you know. I mean, I don't always right from my point of view, you know.
Yeah.
I like to put my head in other people's heads, you know. Like 1916 was about a young soldier. Don't let Daddy kiss me was an abused girl, you know. So I'm quite good at that. People always think you're speaking from your point of view. I mean, my father didn't abuse me, you know, because I didn't have one. So that was easy.
There does seem to be, I mean, maybe then I'm reading them, but there does seem to be some songs in the album do seem quite personal, like I Know How to Die, or
that's not particularly personal. That's just it's about being honourable, you know. Like, stick to your guns, don't give in. Because people always wanted to bite the brass ring, you know, and do what the wrong shit they're all doing, so you'd be part of the club, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then your hands are dirty too. So then we're all going to the future together, stinking, you know. I wouldn't do it for them. Fuck them. I'd rather not do it at all than do it on their terms, you know.
That's what I mean about a theme in the album. It seems to be about, you know, take responsibility for your freedom.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns, as you say.
Yeah.
Don't
Do what you should be doing, not what they want you to do, you know. But you can't trust people. You see, that's the human race again. See, communism's a great idea on paper. How could you trust people with it?
Yeah.
You know, it's impossible. Talk to the ants. They got communism working. Never heard them complain, did you?
I was just wondering, from your point of view, I suppose, how are you aware that is there a larger-than-life Lemmy persona that people expect to see that you kind of have to adopt?
I've always been like this.
Yeah.
I don't dress up as it. This is my clothes. You know,
yeah.
I always wanted to be individual, like to the point where I customise all my clothing, because then if somebody steals it, I'll know it's mine immediately. You know? You never get away with that. So yeah, I've always done that. I was always odd. I was the odd boy, you know. Some odd boy that doesn't like sport, right? I didn't like sport. You don't have to manufacture an image. If you manufacture an image, it's bogus anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's manufactured, you know. People notice that you're weird. In their eyes, I might add, not mine. I think I'm normal. Everybody else says, oh, look here, it's Lemmy, he looks odd, you know. Why? It should be used to long hair by now, it can't be that.
I suppose I'm thinking about more how you cope with the expectations of being famous and
people,
you know, people expect certain things.
As long as people are well mannered with me, I'll be well mannered with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the oldest axiom in the world, and it's still the best one. Do as you would be done by, right?
Right.
So they can have the nice guy if they're a nice guy, and they can have the other kind if they want that. You know, all they got to do is be an asshole for 10 minutes. But you know, it's nicer to be nice, isn't it? To be decent. Why not?
And how is it now? I mean, has it? I mean, you know, 35 years doing Motorhead. How many years before then, rock and roll?
Yeah. Well, every 7 years it becomes fashionable to like Motorhead again. You know? Yeah. I don't know how long this one's going to last. Probably maybe another 6 months, and then we'll be back in the chair again. You know? Be all right. I've done it before.
Personally, though, kind of, you know, are you kind of in yourself? Are you sort of happy? It's been worth it? Is it all right?
You shouldn't expect to be happy. You should expect to be halfway content with your lots. There should be something nagging at you, because otherwise you lose your desire. You know, there always should be a desire to better yourself. You know, I don't mean with money necessarily. To just be a better person. You know, you should always be trying for that. And I've always lived by that. My mum told me about that, and I figured it out in my head. That's it. That's good. So that's a great thing, you know, to live by. Be a decent guy until they fuck around with you, then fuck them double.
Absolutely.